A couple of seconds till everyone comes on. 9 people in the lobby. Good start. Guys, today, how to push past resistance and embrace challenges. Morning, everyone. Love it. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Caroline. Yous are quick off today. Yous are on it. New microphone today, guys, so just let me know if you can all hear me. By the way, can you just comment before I even come on? So folks, while we wait on Frankie, what are the positives we have actually changed our habits? By the way, love this, Craigie. Love it, son. Right, today, so day 5 on the identity project. We're going to focus on something crucial that's that's really important for long-term growth, and that is pushing past resistance, obstacles and challenges. Faced a lot of these myself, so this is coming from a place that I didn't do too many bullet points because I know a lot of stuff's going to come up today. Basically what you need to be doing while we're building these challenges, building these habits, building these behaviors, you are going to come across days where you're going to fail. You're going to, something's going to come up, whether it be work, whether it be family, and you know, whatever you've promised yourself, it's not going to happen. That's just the be all and end all of it. Hi Claire, good to see you. So section 1 today, we're basically talking about redefining challenges as opportunities. I did a video yesterday talking about a comeback. Basically, when you expect a certain result, doesn't happen. I would say, I'm just picking numbers here, but I would say about 70% of the population would play the victim mode. Play, you know, why does this happen to me? Wrong place, wrong time, you know, feeling sorry for yourself, which is fine. You can do that for maybe 20 minutes. But then, hi Karen, but then it's time to get back on the horse. So what positives can you take from this situation? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples as well, just to sort of give you a sort of framework. So there's a story about Oprah Winfrey, right? Now, I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm going to read this. So Oprah's journey, right, exemplifies this idea. So she was born into poverty, facing abuse at a young age. Oprah's circumstances seemed like barriers to success. Anyone would agree with that, right? She went to live with her grandmother and later endured challenges of family conflicts and trauma. However, instead of letting these experiences define her success, define her future, define her life negatively, she turned it. So she reframed them as lessons and shaped her resilience to fuel her ambition. Now, when she worked for a certain company, she got told she was not good at hosting. She's not a good personality for TV. And Oprah Winfrey is now, you know, well, we all know she's one of the biggest TV presenters and you know that's ever been. So there's so many stories where, you know, Walt Disney was told the same. He said he had zero imagination. And look at what Disney have produced. So there's so many things that you can take from this. So many different. Even Michael Jordan, he was dropped. I think it's Michael Jordan. I think he was dropped from his basketball team in school. So there's so many, you know, these famous celebrities that do something. I actually learned something yesterday. Ricky Gervais never started comedy properly. He got made redundant at the age of 36, I think it was. Got made redundant, and again, another situation where you could be like, he started comedy. He set 6 months of money aside. He says, I'm going to give this a shot. And look at Ricky Gervais now. So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about today, using the roadblocks and using kind of negative things and turning it into positives. I've not seen Anne Louise comment yet, so I don't know if she's on for a quote, but I have done a wee quote for you. Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things you thought you couldn't do, right? Hi, Nanette. In fact, do you know what? I tell you what. Let's get a little good morning to everyone. Who else on? Who's on? Craigie C. Good to see you, Craig. That's because we're feeling it. Yes. Brian Foster. Brian, I'm starting to worry about you, pal. That's now 5 days in a row. Good to see you, mate. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. Katrina. And Nanette and Karen. Oh, there's Anne. Oh, there's Anne Louise. There we are. I thought you'd be on. So today, what I want to dig deep in is I want to find out sort of who's been doing these habits, who's been writing stuff, and if anybody wants to share them, let me know. Let me know the big goal that you want, and let me know what habits you're doing. I'd love to see these in the comments because bouncing each other's ideas off each other is going to be a key thing later on in the process. So I want to get into the habit of being quite open, of being quite vulnerable, because that's when change will occur, believe it or not, when you're basically honest with yourself. That's one of the things that's helped me is one of the things that I've got is self-awareness. And I know when I need to start being a bit more disciplined, a bit more focused, you know, a bit more concentrated on the things that are going to lead me, you know, in a better path. So section 2, embracing resistance as a sign of growth. There's a key point here. Resistance is a signal that you're on the verge of something significant, and overcoming it's crucial for growth. So another little analogy that I've always liked is when you plant a seed in the ground, right? And you're throwing mud on it. You're throwing soil, whatever it is. That seed isn't coming through that ground straight away, right? It's trying, and it's just not coming through. But what it needs to happen is that seed needs to be watered every day. It needs some sort of sun. It needs some sort of water. It needs looked after for maybe, I don't know, let's take 6 months, for example, before that seed will push through the ground. Now, once it's through the ground, there's a Japanese tree, right? Now, let's say this one. There's a Japanese tree that takes 8 years to be watered and looked after every day before it comes out the ground. But then within 3 months, it grows 80 feet, right? So you see these people that you know, oh, it's an overnight success. You know, this person's so lucky that it happened overnight. Well, yes, it did happen overnight, but you didn't see the 20 years of practice that they put into it beforehand. You know, so it's all about setting yourself up for that win. There's a few more comments here. Let me read them here. Kathy Noble, exactly how I felt on Thursday after bad news hospital results yesterday. A bit worried. Why me? But I realised it is what it is. I either wallow in self-pity or I take some control and focus on what I can control. That's right. And listen, we've all had it. We've all had some news that's, you know, not ideal. But you're quite right in what you're saying, Kathy. It's kind of how you go forward and how you deal with it. It's listen, you can't control the uncontrollable. You can only control your emotions, and you can only control what you react. Is there something that you can be doing? You know, whatever it is there something you could be doing to be helping your situation? Or, you know, like I think Carol Ann yesterday said about the iron tablets. You know, small little things that could help the longer picture. But as I said, maybe don't go into that if you don't want to, Kathy. That's not a problem. But you're quite right. It's all about the mindset and how you're going forward. Quote, massive goals don't require massive action. They require constant action. And Louise, I think you're going to be taking over these soon. Procrastination, depression, ADHD. I try every day, then halfway through it gets too much for me. But starting the 3 things a day helps. Well, let's talk about that for a quick second then. So the reason I said about these 3 little things in the morning is because it gets you into the memory of winning, which is what? Confidence. If you can start your days each day by getting small little wins, you know, turning up, showing up, and being fresh, just setting yourself up nice for the day, you'll find the day runs a lot smoother, you know. And there's one thing that I'm trying to do is before I go to bed and in the morning, I'm always on my phone. I'm always flicking through. I'm always, you know, my mind's active. That's a habit I need to get out of because it keeps me awake. It's and obviously having the blue light before bed doesn't help. It doesn't give you the best sleep quality. So I think that's a habit that I definitely need to change. I might actually do that for the next one that we do, the next challenge. This challenge, my main focus is turning up every single day for this video. That is the only thing that I'm focused on right now, because I noticed if I split my attention too much, because I was going to set out 3 habits, but then I thought I'm just going to do the same as everyone. So we're all on the same page. We're setting one habit and we're just absolutely nailing that habit. You know, you don't need to worry about any other, don't change any other thing. Focus on this one. So my key thing is to turn up for 21 days straight on here. And it's day 5. And this was actually the first day where it wasn't an effort. actually, because I knew the process. I knew how long I needed to have before I set the camera up, before they set the lights up. I knew all the notes on here that I was going to talk about. I was prepared. And another quote, and I actually learnt this as a salesman. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. And that's always stuck with me, because I used to be a nightmare when I used to sell cars. Like, selling cars was the easy part. That was the easy part. The hard part was the paperwork and the handover when the customer would come and collect the car. I remember the first one took me about 2 hours. They should really take you 20 minutes. The first one took me 2 hours, and actually the customer was pretty close to cancelling the car. He was a bit annoyed. So what I quickly learnt was the top salesman, instead of, on a Monday morning when it's quiet, you get a lot of the guys that are, going by the coffee machine and, chilling out a bit, and how's your weekend? And when I started to realise quickly there was only 2 or 3 people who were at the top of the table. They were at their desks. Now, they were actually writing out all the paperwork for that week for the customers. Why? Because they can get the customers in and out as quick as possible, because they want to focus on selling cars. Why? Because that's how you make money. Being in sales, it was one of the things that really grew my confidence, and really, because when you're in sales, a lot of people think, well, I could never do a commission-only job, or a commission job or a sales job, or like sales is one of the best skills you can have as a person. And sales isn't speaking. Sales is being able to listen and identify what someone's needs are and what someone's wants are before they tell you. Being on a stage, that whole 1 hour or 2 hours I'm on a stage, I am selling you to like me. That's a sale. That's selling. That, believe it or not, that's when you're going for an interview, for a job that you want. That is selling. Believe it or not, And to give you a little example, if you went for an interview, most people would think sales would be, talk about yourself. I've done this. I went to school. I've got these grades. I've worked in this environment and that environment. Whereas, if it was sales, and if it was me going for an interview, you'd probably do a little bit of research and a bit of homework on the company first, and you would ask certain questions that probably nobody else would think of asking. Whereas, if it was Arnold Clark, right, Arnold Clark, I go for an interview. Right, well, this company was built in, 1916 or whatever. You've got 117 branches all over the UK. Why do you think I'd be suited for this branch? Asking different questions, and not being saying, well, I'm from Leith, and it's just 5 minutes down the road to Seafield where I go. No, reframe it. Actually, I'm from Leith, so I've got a very, very big following here in Edinburgh, especially in Leith. So being at Seafield actually gives the potential of selling more cars at this branch. Why is that important for you, Mr. Manager? Because it will hit your KPIs. That's selling. Is identifying what the other person's needs are before yours. Because why does he or she want to employ you? They want to sell more cars. So you need to identify how you can help them before they help you. That's selling. By the way, there's floods of comments coming in here. Carl Hamilton, good to see you. I admire your mindset and daily approach. Oprah Winfrey thing. Yes, my granddad was a scout for Newcastle United and offered up a new wee Northern Irish player. They rejected him because he was small. It was George Best. No way. Callahan, started doing my journal at night rather than my phone. Oh, okay, rather than my phone. I've been sleeping. Look forward to having that hour. Life can be. Yes, love that. Prioritise the next day. Yep, love that. Yes, a phone is a handy tool, but I now use mine as a communication tool and learning tool. I broke the habit. Yep, definitely. Totally agree with that. Bill Allen, I used to teach my sales team not to ask the question, but to ask for the answer. And by the way, that is it. Like, because I used to the way, honestly, this is how I used to sell cars. You would obviously build a bit of rapport with the person. And people think building rapport with somebody is, you know, what's your name? What school did you go to? What's your cat's name? You know, you don't actually care about any of that. You want to understand why the customer is there and how you can help them. So we would get past a small 5-minute chat, and I would actually say to them, like, what is it you want, like, from today's, like, visit? Like, what is it? Do you want to buy a car? You just look, what is it you want? Well, actually, Frank, we've had this car for 5 years. It's a bit wear and tear, and we're looking for something a little bit bigger. Perfect, cool. You've just saved yourself half an hour of small talk, because now you can actually show the customer slightly bigger cars within what budget they've said, and you're on the right track. Whereas if you're just talking about, you know, what they had for their tea last night, and, you know, oh, I love spaghetti and meatballs as well, that's absolutely pointless. You've got to have a direction. And I used to tell people as well, I was open and honest. I do not get paid unless I sell a car. I used to tell customers that. I do not get paid unless I sell a car. So I am going to get you the best deal with a car that you want. Not a car that I'm going to sell you. But what do you use the car for? Right, I play golf and I've got 4 grandkids. Instantly, I'm thinking, okay, something that's 5 doors with a decent sized boot. How much do you travel? Oh, we do like 80,000 miles a year. Perfect. You probably might be best looking at a diesel. So that narrows the whole thing down. So we've got diesel, decent sized cars with boot size over here, here, here. I'll go grab you the keys. You take the keys. You have a look. That's how I sold cars. And I knew the customer had to come back because they've got the keys. So they're coming to me now. I'm not going to them. You know, and it was all a psychological kind of thing where it's like you make the customer feel in control when actually they're not. You already know 2-3 steps ahead of what's going to happen. It's the same as when I'm singing. It's the same as when I'm performing. I kind of have an idea of what's going to happen when I do a certain song or when I tell a certain joke. What parts people are going to laugh at and what parts are going to really listen and be indulged in a story. That's selling, you know? But anyway, I feel like this video wasn't going to be about selling today, so let's get back on track. Section 3, bouncing back stronger. There's, by the way, we could have a list of things here. In fact, I want somebody to give me a time. Humour me for this one. I want somebody to give me a time where they bounce back stronger. I gave an example yesterday about the Tony Christie thing. I could mention loads. The year before, the Rat Pack thing. You know, that was pretty much the same sort of deal. Comes back stronger, and I tell you what, everything does happen for a reason, because the people that booked me for this Tony Christie thing, now this is a positive, by the way. I had a meeting with them at the Aqua Spa and the Aqua Gym that I go to in Tenerife, and they told me, once all the deal was signed and whatever, that I could bring out my own music. And I was like, what do you mean? Because I thought you had to have a record label. Like, I'm still pretty new to this whole business and quite naive. So he was like, well, no, you can just go on this website and it'll dish it out to like Spotify and YouTube, and I already recorded my woman, my wife with Joey. So I contacted Joey and I said, is this true? Can I actually do this? He was like, yeah. So if my woman, my wife would not have been released if that never happened. So cheers. The key point to this is setbacks aren't failures. They're feedback to help you refine your approach and bounce back stronger. Sometimes you take a path where you think, you know, that's a great idea, and you quickly realise, actually, you know what, it's not. Back to the drawing board. That's all this is. This is a big game about drawing boards. If one plan doesn't work, it doesn't mean that the destination's the wrong place. It means that your approach is wrong. Here's one for you. J.K. Rowling. Before she became one of the most successful authors, she faced a series of rejections. As a single mother living on welfare, she struggled to meet ends meet when she was doing the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Despite being rejected by, now listen to this, 12 different publishers. She got rejected by 12 different publishing companies for Harry Potter. That is madness. She never gave up. She finally, a small publisher took a chance, and the rest is history. Her story highlights how her setbacks are not the end, but a chance to adjust and keep moving forward. Now, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to do that continue that counts. By my old mate Winston Churchill. What a quote that is. What a great quote that is. We've got a wee comment here. By the way, I'm loving how much you're sharing, guys. I'm aware it was wasted time not doing more important things. Got you? Yeah. I'm using my phone notes as the journal. And by the way, Kathy, I pretty much use my phone notes as well. Anything, to-do list or what I'm doing during the day. That's 100% a much better way of doing it. That I find as well. When you slid and your sole came off your shoe, you stayed positive and bounced back at the waterfall. So Katrina, so I was performing a show at the waterfall in Tenerife, and I think it was like, I don't know, the 6th or 7th song. The heel just came off my shoe, and there's so many ways that I could have went, but I just ripped the other heel off my other shoe, so I was balanced, and it made such a, I don't know, it just made the gig a little bit, at ease. That was a good moment. That's what you get for buying shoes for China. I lost my job at NHS due to my back, which has made me stronger to get back to work. But good days and bad days, getting it. Melissa, love that. 8 years ago, I was held hostage in Africa. Oh, Craig, what is this? 8 years ago, I was held hostage in Africa for 10 days. That was when my life changed to be high on life as possible and never give up. Then the disability, so it's changed every day now and challenging life. Craig, I appreciate you sharing that, pal. Brian Foster, life doesn't always deal you a good hand. When dealt a bad one, then it's time to bounce back. Brian, I love that one, pal. The secret of getting ahead is to getting started. Yes, Kathy. If you fail at something, then use the knowledge again. Yep, Bill, totally. And by the way, Brian, I like the one that you used about the getting dealt a bad hand. I was at a course a few weeks ago, that Millionaire Business School, and Peter was talking about it was I can't remember. I don't want to mess this up, but he was talking about, there's 52 cards on a deck, right? And the aces are obviously, you get dealt an ace, say for instance, but you look at that ace and you think, well, I've got this problem and this problem, this problem. There's no way I can have this ace. I must have got the wrong card. But the rest of the cards are, let's take an example. These are things where, for instance, if you're born in the UK, right, or United States, and you've just been born into that passport, a lot of people just take that for granted, but having that passport can get you access to virtually anywhere in the world, right? Whereas if you're born in another country, you need to apply for visas, you need proof of income, you need to jump through so many hoops to even get to, say, the UK or get to the United States or even Australia. So even have that British passport is a lucky thing. So there's one thing you could be grateful for. Most of the people that come to my shows and whatever, have all their limbs, have all their, there's so many things that you can go through, that you actually think, do you know what, I am pretty lucky. Whoever's watching this video are probably in the top 5% of lucky people, even though you might not realize it. The fact that you're actually watching this on a mobile phone right now, you're doing all right. And it takes it into consideration where you look at your problems and see if you write down all your problems that you've got, and you have a look at someone else and they actually showed you their problems. I think a lot of you would keep your page. I know I would. That was a big thing that I took from Peter's course was, do you know what? I'm sweating the small stuff a lot. I worry about the small things that actually in 5 years I'm never going to remember. And probably in 5 months I'm never going to remember. So I've kind of, and do you know weirdly what happens? Do you know when you start letting go? as weird as this sounds, things start falling into place when you're not chasing stuff, and it's kind of acting. And again, I'm going to use the car salesman. A thing that I used to do. I honestly used to just say to the customer, like, I'm actually no bothered if you buy today or not. Just be honest with me. Like, let me help you. So, like, even if you're not going to buy today, I'm going to give you as much information as I can, but I just kind of need to know where you're at. And the fact that I wasn't really bothered really annoyed people. Why did it annoy people? Because it was like, well, why are you not trying to sell me? Like, I want to be sold. Because whenever somebody comes into a car dealership and you ask somebody if they're okay or can I help you, what's the first thing they say? I'm just looking. It's just a natural response. I used to go up to people and say, is are you in for an appointment? So they can't say, I'm just looking. It's either yes or no. So they would 9 times say no, they said no. I said, well, my name's Frankie, and if anybody pesters you, just tell them you're with me. And I would walk away. And the customer's like, what on earth was that? Like, there was no selling. Why was there no selling? And also, I've gave them an out by saying, if somebody comes and pesters you, say you with Frankie. So I'm subliminally, I'm going back in the showroom. I've left the customer to do what he needs to do, but I'm watching the customer. What cars are they looking at? What colours are they looking at? What size of car are they looking at? What price are they looking at? Then I would head back out, and by the time I go back out, their guard's already dropped. It's not a case of I'm just looking. It's a case of, well, what is it you actually want? Well, Frankie, this instantly, you have that rapport, you have that trust, because I never try to sell them something in the first 30 seconds of meeting them, and it's coming up with different ways. I used to carry a little what do you call them? A little squishy, to what do you call it? The stuff that you use for cleaning. I used to pretend when I saw a customer coming at the pitch, I used to go out to a car and I used to pretend I was cleaning the car. And on the way that the customer was walking, I'd be morning, and I would just do the same thing. Just say, you with Frankie, I'll be out with you in 5 minutes. I'm just going to clean this car. I'll be out with you. Not a problem. Appreciate it. There's no pushiness with that. A spray bottle. That's the one, Karen. Karen Rogan. 4 years ago, my life was literally a car crash. Then I was in a horrific car crash, but flipping it around changed my life for the better, and now helping people change their life by getting sober. By the way, Karen, I watch a lot of your stuff, Karen, and you do. I remember we had that conversation in Tenerife. In fact, we've had a lot of conversations, but I remember that. And you were just at a, what was it? The weekend you were at? It was like a banquet type thing, and you show me these discos that you go to, right? And like these massive festivals, and everyone's sober. And it's unbelievable, like what Karen does. Like, I love that. In fact, you know what? I'm going to share more of that one day. Just to wrap up, guys, we've got sort of a couple of things here. When your purpose is clear, it becomes the anchor that transforms struggles into meaningful triumphs. Again, yesterday we spoke about knowing why. Knowing why is very important. Consistency is very important. Accountability is very important, and mindset is just the thing that kind of holds it all together. And I kind of hate the word positive. Be positive, be positive. Like, what does that actually mean? But if you change it to being focused, being really intentional what you want. Be intentional with what you want, because I've always had a YouTube, right? But I would post, like, maybe I would start by doing once a week and then get bored after 3 weeks, and then I would not post in 6 months, and then, whereas this, I've been very intentional in my mind what I'm going to do. Show up every day, creating content, and this might not be the best content in the world yet, but this is a practice for something that I have a plan for in the future. So for me, this is like school. I'm learning, what the best lighting is. I'm learning what the best camera is. I'm learning, is that logo kind of, in line with what I'm doing later on, because I've got some ideas. And like I said, like, I always wanted to try and help as many people as I can. So by doing this, and it's on YouTube, anyway, because this is going to be there. So this, and I keep saying it, but the comments, I'm loving the comment, how you can go live and you can see the comments. I love that. I really do love that. I'd love for you to do a book on all of these points. Well, Caroline, funny you should mention that. And do you know what? I haven't told anyone yet. However, the reason why I take notes and have this, right? And the reason why I'm keeping these on YouTube is I'm going to go through, after I do the 21 days, and pick out the best key points. I'm going to get you guys to help me. The best key points or the best information that you've received through the 21 days. And I think we should like create a book, either together or, you know, I'll take everyone's points into consideration, and it'll be like a, I don't know, it'll be a book anyway. That is the plan. And that could be the sort of guide for the next challenge, whatever the next challenge is, because I want to keep doing these. And then I want to get bigger. I want like to have this in an actual studio. And then I want people on the podcast. And, you know, I want to really grow this to something, and so it has arms and legs. But this, I want everyone to see that this is the start of that. You know, so you can actually look back and say, well, how did Frank actually start this? Sponsored by Iron Brew Extra, by the way. Couldn't be bored with a coffee today. Had a big breakfast. Wow, really, oh my days, I love it. No, Caroline, that's the idea, and I'll be honest with you. Because I wasn't going to tell you, because again, it's like, well, I might not do it. I might not follow through with this, but if I tell you, then I'm going to have to do it. So the idea is, you know, the things that I find important are like journals, right? Journals, diaries is a must for me. Now, writing on your phone, in fact, you know what? Oh, in fact, my phone's there. You know, I've got lists and lists and lists of stuff that I do on my phone. And, you know, I'll sometimes make a list about a list. What really helps me is actually writing. Because there's something about writing that it's you that's using it. You're not just typing it on a phone and forgetting about it. You've physically written that, and you're reading it, and you're reading it while you're writing it. That makes it 100 times more powerful. And anytime I really do want to do something, let's give you an example right there. See, look. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Goals Bible. Let's give you a page. So 3 months goes to the 1st of May. So I think this must have been, I think this must be 3 month goals, May 1st. So this must have been what? January, February, March, April, May, January, February. So this must have been maybe February and March. So, okay. Wait there. So actually, the second thing, I don't know if you see this. Right, the second thing, set intention for who you are and who you want to be. Write a journal every day. And by the way, this was in March, before the assembly rooms. This was my goals before the assembly rooms. Hit 82 kilograms in weight. I plan my wife single. 1 sport per week minimum. Create a weekly rota. Apply for Britain's Got Talent, which I ended up on. Manchester. That's how me and Alfie met. Find gigs for, what does that say? So I'm not going to give you the number. You could probably watch a video back, actually. I wanted to find gigs for a minimum of this number that I thought was going to be impossible. And that's now the actual low number that I charge, rather than an impossible number. And it was all to do with the belief. And make it to Vegas. Wait there, I've not even looked at this. So what then I would do, I'd write goals each page. Right? I would write them out, and then I would do it like a little, so for instance, I would do a little spider diagram. So for instance, my room and my wife, right? The first point of contact I had to go for that song was Joy. You see that? Then I would have to mix it, right? Then it would need to get mastered, right? Then I'll need to find a distribution service like DistroKid. Then I would contact Spotify. You know, all these things that are related to that goal, I would put them on a separate page. And then you create a plan going from that page, if that makes sense. Humour me, wait there. Here's a perfect example. Vegas in May. I'm going to let you screenshot that. I'll give you a wee minute, because I don't even know what it says, but wait there. So Vegas in May. Right, accommodation, I need to get that sorted. The Dennis Bono show, I wanted to go on the Dennis Bono show. That happened. In fact, that happened twice. Mark O'Toole, I wanted to go on the Mark O'Toole show. That happened once. Meet up with Erin, that happened. The Sterling Club, that didn't happen. Now, the Sterling Club's a very posh place in Vegas, where I was the year before. But that didn't happen. What else is there? Vegas. Anyway, I think you get the idea. That is how. By the way, look at this as well. I'll let you screenshot. I can let you screenshot that as well. So this is building a personal brand. Now, yesterday I spoke about building a personal brand. Everyone has one. Now, brand equals your digital reputation and how it makes people feel and what value I give. That is what your brand is. How you make people feel and what value I give. Your target audience. Now, if you have a business, right, or like for me, what I'm doing, I always think to myself, who can I help? And I've struggled with this. But I saw a video before I went to Vegas, and this changed my whole concept. So my target audience is who I am 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, 20 years ago. The best, the way I can serve people the best is actually talk about stuff that I've done. That's it, you know? And that's why I always try and build this whole journey around actually my experience, rather than, you know, picking up a textbook and reading you know, crap that people already put on the internet, because they just do it for likes or followers, or, you know, which is great. That's a whole separate thing to, you know, to make a lot of money from that, and that's a really good business. But I want to give you the points where I've maybe kind of been through. I've not even opened that in a while. I like that. So we're going to wrap up. I'm going to read a couple of more comments. Respect, Karen. Yes, love that. Fantastic, Karen. Spray bottle. I love you do a book. I love that, Frankie. You acknowledge your customer and help to put them at ease at the same time you're able to assess what the customer wanted. And Kathy, do you know as well, some people say that's manipulation. And I'm not going to lie, it is. And manipulation isn't a bad thing. And it isn't a good thing. Manipulation is determined on how you use it. Because when you say that word, people, oh my God, you like I'm very good at manipulating people. Very good. But what does manipulation actually mean? It means you probably know the outcome before it happens. That's what manipulation is. And you can, again, like I say, you can use it in a good way and you can use it in a bad way. And I think I'm pretty good at using it in a good way. And because for one, it puts the customer at ease. And two, I actually get an idea of what they're looking at. So we don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of, you know, like I said, what school did you go to? Where did you grow up? How many kids you got? Like that's crap. If you ever get a salesman that does that, bin them. And by the way, see if you want the best deal at a garage, here's a tip for you. Or anywhere. If you're going to a jeweler's, if you're going to a real estate place, if you're going to a car, if you're going to buy something, ask for the best salesman in the branch. They will get you the best deal because they want the deals. Never ask for somebody. Never get somebody that's just started. I know that sounds really bad, but if you want a good deal, always ask for the best person. Ask who that best salesman is or saleswoman, and the whole process will be effortless. I promise you. You always want an expert who's helping you. Love that knowledge. Yep. Structure your life in a path of happiness. You can take it better in written. Yes, I love that. A gratitude list every morning. Karen, that's something we're going to speak about in a little bit. That would be great to create a book. It is similar to my Slimming World class. If they say keep a diary of what you eat and writing it down helps. Yep, keeping track. Frankie, when you set goals, how do you review to highlight when goal you've achieved and if not achieved? Move the goals to a following month. So, Kathy, it's really up to you because, like, for instance, so I'm going to use that. What was it, the Sterling Club? I realised quite quickly when I was over in Tenerife, over in Vegas, that the Sterling Club. So I'd done these goals before I went to Vegas. But when I got to Vegas, I realised there was a lot more things I could be doing that were more beneficial to my time. So my goals actually changed a little bit. You know, the Sterling Club wasn't important to me at that point. Probably still isn't. It didn't match what I needed or what I needed. It just didn't match. Whereas the Dennis Bono show, the Marco Tool show, Monday's Dark, the one that these ones were the premium shows that I could go on. So I put all of my energy and all of my intention and all of my focus to get into that. And it happened. And I knew that was going to get me the most exposure and the most brand awareness in Vegas on the circuit, because these are big shows over there, you know. And they help a lot of charities and stuff as well. So it all kind of, I had a bigger vision. But however, so if you have another goal, it's okay to move it to the next month or whatever. But what I kind of do is, if I've got 10 goals, I'll just pick out 3 that are most important to me, and I'll focus on them first. Because if you spread yourself too thin over 10 goals, you're not going to achieve any of them. It's like if you try and chase 2 rabbits at the same time, you're never going to catch them. You focus on one rabbit, and then if you catch it, then try and catch the other one. What else we got here? I've started writing down what we said, lose weight, except with working shifts, that will change. Love that. People often say motivation does not last. Well, neither does... By the way, Nanette, people often say motivation does not last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why it's recommended daily. I love that. Nanette, that quote is going in the book. That's the first quote in the book. Whenever that happens. Guys, again, we're almost at 45 minutes. This was meant to be a 10-minute video. What is going on? Anyway, I hope you've got some value. If there's anything you just want to comment in the last couple of seconds, let me know. Apart from that, tomorrow we'll be back on, probably around about the same time. Should be around the same time, actually. Tomorrow was Wednesday. Yep. And today, I'm hoping to get some content through regarding the assembly rooms. We've done the rehearsals the other night, and thanks again. Keep bathing, folks. Do you know what? That's going to be a mantra, because I promise you, one of my favourite things in the world is a bath. And I absolutely love that quote. I'm actually going to get a t-shirt with it on it. I love that. Right, guys, we're going to... Liz, thank you so much, Liz Kelly. I appreciate it. Craigie boy, Kathy, Caroline, Angela, Karen, getting bloods done tomorrow. Perfect. Guys, I hope you are still writing down every day, a habit that you're changing. Or do you know what? Even if you're just getting value from these videos, that's kind of the main purpose of it. That's kind of the main purpose, getting value from these videos, taking little snippets. And what I really want to do, I don't know if anybody's noticed, if you've not already, follow me on the TikTok. It's called... Now, I'm going to change this. And there's a reason why I'm going to change it. I'm going to call it My Identity Project. So once you've got it, it's yours. So My Identity Project. And also because I wanted to call it the Identity Project. but the website was taken. So it's going to be my identity project. That's going to be the brand. I've got a whole idea that I'm going to do. So that's quite exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. So that is the plan, folks. Thank you, Frankie. Makes sense. Go and feel guilty when not achieved. Kathy, don't feel guilty. That's the thing. Like, some things are more important. Some goals are more important than other goals. Just, if it still means something to you, just pop it in for next month or the next day or the next week, you know? But apart from that, guys, I'm going to sign off just now. It's been absolute quality today. Really enjoyed today. And I'll speak to you soon. If there's any little golden nuggets that you've had over the past 4 or 5 days, send me them. If it's a quote, if it's a little section in 30 seconds that I've said something that's resonated with you, send me it. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop that up and I'm going to post it on my identity project on TikTok. And so we can just have a dedicated page, right? With just golden nuggets. With just these little things that, you know what, that's helped. That can help someone else. And we'll just post them every day. And, you know, you can always refer back to that. Instead of watching the whole 74 hours, you can go to the TikTok and just watch the little segments. And if you do need a longer session, then obviously you've got it here as well. But listen, we'll speak to you tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time. It's really appreciated that you're spending your time with me. So I never take that for granted. So all the best, guys, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.